I'm here in France, and this is the challenge, is to share all sides of ourselves, or myself, you know, and so instead of just sorting this out on my own, how I'm feeling, I thought, hey, let's bring it to the challenge. So I had a really good sleep, and then the last image in one of my dreams this morning was of a dog being abused by a man who was very, very angry. And yeah, it was upsetting. And in the dream, I was trying to get my phone so I could make some video evidence. And I was like, trying to, like, I didn't want to approach this man because he was clearly very, 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 very angry. And I guess that's what I want to talk about today a little bit, is anger and hurting and our wounds. I read a great saying recently, which was that if you don't heal your hurts, you'll end up bleeding on people who didn't hurt you. And I was like, yeah, that's so true. So I've been downstairs this morning. It's now 10 o'clock. I was up at 8 and I was writing. Yeah, I think because of that dream, I kind of woke up and I did that thing where I reached for my phone, and I knew that I shouldn't, because I knew that it was going to make me angry, sort of dealing with messages when I haven't woken up properly yet. I haven't acclimatized to the day. I haven't done my gratitude and appreciation lists. I haven't done a meditation. So I was like, don't do that. But obviously the devil on my shoulder reached for my phone, picked up a message from someone I do workshops with. I didn't like something he said, and I got all like defensive. And then I had to get to the paper and just be okay with my anger and write good things about being angry, so I could just be okay with where I'm at. And then actually, he's a really sweet man, and he just replied and was like being perfectly reasonable. So it was just my assumption, or maybe it's a wound of mine of not being listened to. And so if it happens, I sometimes react. And anyway, I started writing this morning. Sometimes you're not ready to go into an appreciation list, so what my teacher advises is that you write good things about things that are not so good. And so I did that. And then I started writing to my inner child, which is another exercise I do, which I really love. I was about to say I have no shame about, but obviously I have an element of shame about sharing that with you, because I started to kind of go, oh, should I have shared that? But hey, that's what I do. I think it's really important to dialogue with your inner child, and if you don't, I think sometimes your adult self is actually neglecting that child within you that still exists, that wants to be heard, that wants to play, but also isn't all about play. My inner child sometimes tells me to eat vegetables because she's like, can you just stop giving me macaroni and cheese? So sometimes the inner child is the wisdom within us, because our heart is our wisdom. Our heart is the place that we want to lead from. Our heart is our guide, and when we ignore it as our compass, we go astray. So I check in with it, and I did today, and she had some beautiful things to say, but it ended up making me cry, because she told me that the reason that I'm struggling to make an income at the moment, I am making tons of creative content in all different mediums, I'm coaching to the hilt, and yet I'm not doing any sales. Not because they're not coming in, because I'm not making any, as in I'm not creating a sale, as in people don't even know that I have things to sell. Like, because I get so busy with my creative content, because it's my bliss, it's my joy, it's where I'm most happy. And then I forget that the adult side of me has to have some discipline, or has to take care of the child within by providing. And I haven't really been doing that, and I am at, yeah, I'm on the breadline, if you like. I am literally, you know, my brother pays for me to come to France because I take care of the kids for a week, and I love it, but there's no expenses here apart from food. We're staying in a cousin's house of theirs that was empty because they're off on holidays, so there's no expenses on this trip at all. There's been no accommodation apart from the £59 return Eurostar ticket, so literally 10 days, no expenses, unless I go and buy something because I need to treat myself. My arm is aching from holding this phone, so I'm not going to go much longer, but something that my inner child said was that there's still stuff to grieve. And she's like, you're still grieving stuff that happened nearly 20 years ago when you were abandoned at ballet school and you were 16 and away from home and struggling, being bullied left, right and centre by the staff and by the pupils. I had no one to defend me, no one to stand up for me. I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that kind of environment. My experience of the environment at the Royal Ballet School before that time had been pleasurable, and suddenly it took a turn for the worst, and my parents weren't there to defend me, and my inner child saying there's still a part of you that is still grieving that abandonment. And yes, it's a long time ago, and yes, I can feel embarrassed about that, but the inner child in me, or the adult in me, I don't know which one it is, seems to have some difficulty sometimes when it comes to, I don't know, just bringing in money. I don't know what it is. I mean, I never really learnt it. I mean, does anyone really learn it? I don't know. Like, I left home at 16, didn't know how to cook for myself, didn't really know how to do anything. After I left ballet school, I had a foot operation. Then I went to another ballet school to recover, and they gave me a scholarship in return for me doing a degree. So I did the degree, the year degree. I don't remember doing it. Yeah, like then suddenly I'm 18 and I'm off to Germany trying to get work as a ballet dancer. But yeah, I'm completely traumatized from my experiences at the Royal Ballet School. It's as if my soul completely left me, and I think I was just a body just walking around trying to get a job. I was walking in Munich in the snow, then I'd be in Amsterdam in the sun, and then, you know, I'd be staying in a hostel in Amsterdam where these guys with accordions come in and empty their change on the bed. And, you know, I remember I mean, I was 18, and you know, in a shared bunk bedroom, because literally there were no beds left in Amsterdam because, I don't know, the weather got really good and it was suddenly really busy, and I had an audition with the Netherlands Dance Theatre, and you know, the owner of the bar would be asking me if I wanted to smoke pot, and I'd be like, I'm here for an audition. He's like, do you want to have some alcohol? I'm like, I'm here for an audition, can I have a cup of tea? And then I would be in the bunk bed at night not really being able to sleep because I'm in a mixed dorm, and the guy who ran the hostel came up and started asking me if I could run away with him, and I was just like, I'm just here for an audition. Can I just get on with my job? I mean, so much to go through, essentially, for a teenager. So, yeah. And yes, you could argue that this is really old stuff that should have been dealt with, and I have been working really hard, but sometimes it still comes up. So that's what happened this morning. So this is how I process it. There's obviously still some sadness. Where there's noises outside, and it made me get really nervous. My brother's here, my niece and nephew, my sister-in-law and her parents, so it's quite a full house. So I think that's maybe what made the emotion arise, because I haven't seen my parents for just coming up to a year. And I haven't seen my sister-in-law's parents for, I don't know, could be 20, even though it feels like I saw them the other day. So I don't know, maybe I've seen them since then, I'm not sure. But they're really sweet, and I guess seeing a mum and dad around has made me suddenly emotional because I miss mine. And I've stayed away deliberately because they tend to be very critical and not quite accepting of, I don't know, I was about to say anyone, I don't know if that's true, but I always feel like I don't measure up, and I received the message as I wrote to my inner child that I just need to say what I have to say. I do believe that the truth will set you free, and the truth doesn't necessarily make people comfortable, but that's not the point of the truth. The point of the truth is to get to the bottom of a thing. And when we get to the bottom of a thing, we find out sometimes that we just don't like a person, or we get to the bottom of a thing that, whatever the thing is that we're afraid of, just get to the bottom of it, because at the end of the day, that's the truth. When you have the truth, there's nothing, it's the clearest information in the world. Even if the information is that that person's just not that into you, or someone doesn't like you, if that's the truth, your only job is to accept it. That's it. Yes, you might cry, your heart might bleed, but once you get that, that's it. There's no dilly-dallying, there's no drama, there's no trying to fit into someone else's agenda, or trying to walk on eggshells, or trying to make it work. If you get to the truth that a relationship just doesn't quite fit, then that's good. That's like, okay, let's not waste any more precious time on this precious earth. Cutting corners. I'm nervous because of all the squeaks outside.